This is an It Came From Gen X video.
Okay, and then last subject I had tonight, Keith, here, May the 13th in 2004. It's time flies. The final episode of Frasier aired, and that show lasted for 11 seasons. And it's like, wow. It's like, you think about Cheers, and it spawned Frasier. Frasier, of course,
Right.
was a very popular character on there. And Frasier didn't, as we know, didn't have a whole lot to do with Cheers. They had some cameo appearance.
No.
Some of the original cast members with Sam and a couple people visited Frasier, but it was just such a popular character. And again, very successful. I would venture to guess one of the most successful spin-offs
Yeah.
of any television show ever. So it kind of got us talking a little bit here. What are some of your favorite TV spin-offs over the years? So
Okay.
don't have to have a set number per se, but if any comes to mind that were some of your favorites or just some that were successful that you want to mention there. So
Yeah.
any come to mind, Keith?
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the early days, there was a great connection between some of my favorite shows of all time, comedies, or if you will. That was a connection between Good Times, All in the Family, The Jeffersons,
Yep,
and Maude.
that's right.
Yeah, and all connected. So, man, those are just some of the greatest shows ever made, funniest shows ever made, and it was great. On Maude, Florida, from Good Times was housekeeper for Maude for a while.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, where they got their show, and on All in the Family, George Jefferson. The Jeffersons had moved in next to the Bunkers.
That's right.
Before they went on and got before they moved on up, so that was just a great connection of shows back then. Those are some of my favorites. And of course, as I got older, there was a show that had been out for a few years. I never watched it. Then when I broke my ankle, was laid up for weeks after weeks after weeks. Somebody gave me a bunch of video cassettes of the show, and I watched every last one of them year after year after year. And that's when I became a Law and Order fan. And I'm so glad to see that it's back. But SVU spinned off from that, and I just absolutely love SVU. Mariska Hargitay, Ice-T was a perfect fit for that show. That is one of my favorite spinoffs of all time. And of course, you mentioned in pre-show, one of the greatest spinoff franchises of all time was from Star Trek.
Yes.
And I don't even know if some of them aren't spinoffs, because the Next Generation is certainly years later. But they all connect, just like I said, it's a spinoff. But of course, from Star Trek came Star Trek Next Generation. From that, you got Star Trek Voyager. From that, you got Star Trek Deep Space Nine. From that, you got Star Trek Enterprise. And then, of course, now you have Star Trek Discovery, which is amazing. Star Trek Strange New World, which is amazing. And then I just finished season 3 of Picard, which might be the greatest thing I've ever saw in the Star Trek universe. So the sci-fi stuff is my favorite, but it goes all the way back to the comedies of the Maudes and the All in the Family. Those are my favorite spinoffs.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, some of those made my list as well. I mean, the Jeffersons, I used to love that show. I used to watch it on reruns all the time. Sherman Hemsley, it's just fantastic. Laverne and Shirley, same era, right? So they started out. Some people don't really know that they started out on Happy Days.
Sure did.
I think Laverne was dating the Fonz, if I recall correctly, and they got popularity, and then that was a huge Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. That was a big
and Mort came from there too.
That's right. Mort was on Happy Days for a minute too, which was very odd and strange. But so The Simpsons. The Simpsons came from the Tracy Ullman show, as a lot of people know. So they were just a short on that show back in the late 80s. And obviously The Simpsons became...
That was huge.
still on the air to this day, 30 plus years later, which is incredible. One of the longest running television shows, period, in history, which is pretty amazing. Just other ones Benson. Benson the butler got his start on soap.
Right. Yep.
Right. I used to enjoy Benson. I just thought, the guy, the actor's name escapes him right now, but he was fabulous.
Robert Guillaume.
That's it.
Yeah, he was great.
So good. Putting the rich people in their place all the time was fantastic. The Bionic Woman obviously came from the $6 Million Man, Lindsay Wagner.
Didn't miss that.
Great stuff. You had the Facts of Life. I used to watch the Facts of Life, which came off of Different Strokes. You might a lot of course, our age probably watch the Facts of Life.
Yeah.
It's Fear the Walking Dead is a newer one here. So they took some characters from the Walking Dead series and branched off into another part of that universe. I definitely enjoy Fear the Walking Dead. I think it's coming to it might be coming to a finale as well, as did the Walking Dead. But Fear the Walking Dead was a very interesting offshoot on the West Coast, and it was set kind of earlier in the zombie apocalypse initially. So good stuff here. So not a lot. Certainly on the other side of it, we can also name a lot of spinoffs that did not fare so well, and probably a lot of bad ones. But I think we definitely named some good ones here.
Yeah, how about Gomer Pyle, USMC, off of the Andy Griffith Show? That was great. Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah, absolutely. It was hugely popular in the 60s. Absolutely. Any other ones come to mind, Keith, you want to mention?
Oh, I can't think of too many other ones right now. There was a lot that came from the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Right.
Bob Newhart, Rhoda, all those had a lot spin off from off of there too. So it was some good stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I think before we create our own spin-off with a lengthy episode.
Well, Bachelor Pastor, Pastor, that's going to be a spinoff from me.
That's right, Pastor Bachelor.
Pastor Bachelor, yeah.
Cage in a Cage.
Cage in a Cage,
Nick Cage all the time, from Skinner in an actual cage. Yeah,
we're a spinoff. We're a spinoff from reality football.
You're right.
Yeah.
Actually, we are. You're exactly right. Reality Football, original podcast. Exactly right. So, can't make fun of spinoffs because we are one.
Nope.
Right. Hey, Fish here from ItCameFromGenX with Skinner and Keith. For every like and subscribe, you may win a free 1-year subscription to the AARP.